Buongiorno from Italy. And this video is about how I overcame not trusting in myself and how you can too. And so I want to go through three things. One, how I lost trust in myself. Two, the consequences of that in my life. And three, how I got it back. Yeah, so at the end of the video, I'll give you a way that you can actually get it back yourself. It's really important. So I want to start with a story. It's really funny story. When I was over in Indonesia, up in the rainforest with a tribe, we were walking for days through rainforest up in the mountains, and I was just following along. I thought there was a trail, and at one point they turned and with hand gestures, because they didn't speak English, it was just me with them. They turned and they asked me to kind of lead, you know. So I kind of thought, well, that's not too bad, there's the trail. So I headed off ahead, couldn't see anything. It was just a wall of forest. I just stopped. I could not find, where was the trail? You know, couldn't find it. And they laughed. They just, like, really heartily, they just laughed. Here was a person from the outside world, modern world, couldn't even work his way through the forest. Such a basic thing for them, you know. And it was a huge moment of awakening for me to go, wow, you know, university, like I'd grown up in a house of books, you know, that wisdom, knowledge outside yourself, you know, if you can get all the knowledge outside of yourself, and then university, and then I moved into IT, where you were trying to get all this knowledge of what was happening in IT, all outside of yourself. So you've put behind any kind of inner trust in your own innate wisdom, you know. And then you find yourself in a forest with tribal people. You can't even walk forward, you know, you can't even find a trail. So, and the consequences, you know, in my life, in my work, were that, you know, I'd put my trust in gaining knowledge outside in computers and IT, but each individual area became so complex over time, like cabling, networking, software, all became its own huge area. And I, as a consultant, I just couldn't keep on top of all these areas. They just became huge. And I felt I was going to be asked questions that I just wouldn't know the answer to. So it was really difficult for me, you know, in work. I was like, somebody's going to ask me, I don't know the answer. But obviously I couldn't know the answer. So I had to go deep inside myself to go, but you know, what do I know? Like, what is it that I have that's like an inner knowing? And I knew patterns. I knew, you know, I could see patterns. I could join the dots. And actually that was my gift. When I worked in large organizations, I could see whole systems connected. Rather than the technical aspects, actually, I was more about connecting all the dots together. That was my skill, that was my inner knowing. So I put my trust in the outside knowledge, the technical stuff, but actually I'd lost in that. I'd lost my inner trust in just knowing about patterns and knowing about systems and joining dots together. And that's what I've taken forward, you know, through that kind of crisis in my work life in IT. That knowing of, that's my gift. My gift is knowing patterns and joining all the dots. Is what I bring into my client work with coaching, where I can, when somebody outlines their life, I can see the patterns and join the dots together and make sense of a lot of the things that they can't see because they're too in the detail, you know. So actually, in finding that out, it's been a huge help for me in the work that I do now. So that's, I guess, you know, what I'm trying to do in the video is get across the arc of my journey, what I discovered, you know. I'd lost trust in myself very early on and had put it in books and college and IT and computers and technology. But actually, and it was a hard lesson for me to come back and go, what do you know? What is it that you know within yourself? And that was, you know, for me, and it'll be different for everybody, a knowing of patterns and knowing of how the dots join together, you know. And that inner knowing meant, yeah, that I could, we put our trust in a sat nav, to find our way. But actually within ourselves, we have that knowing, like the tribe in West Papua. They just know, they can just walk through a forest. There's no track there. They just know. And that knowing is really important for us, because if we put our trust in things outside ourselves, in books and knowledge and all these things, we can be manipulated, because if the books change or the knowledge changes or something changes, we're at sea. We've put too much trust outside ourselves and lost that inner trust within ourselves. So it's really important that you regain the trust in your inner knowing. What is that inside you that you just know? It's unshakable. You just know it. And the more of those things that inside like if I garden now, I grow things and I know, okay, some things mightn't grow, some things will grow, but I know I can garden. I know from my lived experience, I know what I can do. It's really important that we root ourselves in that inner knowing. So hope you really liked the video today. Please like and share. And if you have any people that might benefit from it, please share the video with them. Ciao from Italy.